question, people always know or always have heard the phrase, follow the money. Right? Follow the money, and that'll kind of give you an indication, idea of maybe some motivation of different things. So I want to ask you all about finance, campaign finance. Can you tell us who your top contributor or contributors are, and why or what reasons they donated to your campaign? Representative Torres?
If I can remember correctly, the top contributor is a gentleman, a home builder out of Houston, Bob Perry. He's a big contributor to Republican candidates all over the state. And I believe Mr. Perry, I can't answer for Mr. Perry, but I believe for a man who's willing to contribute the money that he does, that he works very hard for, is because he believes in certain causes or values. And I believe that the candidates that reflect those values are the people that he donates his hard-earned money to.
Thank you. Senator?
I think my biggest campaign contributor is the Water Health Pack, Dr. Renaissance Hospital. And the reason for that is that healthcare is very important not only to us here in South Texas, but throughout the state. I will also tell you that for us, they contribute to my campaign because South Texas is one of the fastest growing areas in the state of Texas. Our state leads the nation in the creation of new jobs. Our economy continues to grow. We are where the action is. From job creation to education continues to improve. Water Health Pack is located in McAllen, and they continue to grow and provide quality health care. And I assume, and I think that the reason they support me and continue my campaign because I've done an excellent job in being a very strong, effective voice for our health needs and education and the creation of jobs and the investment in our infrastructure. If you drive around, you can see that the highways and bridges and water security.
Well, thank you very much. Excellent. Now, this is what's really special about this evening is that we have two representatives here with us that we can ask them about their voting records. Because generally we have made invitations to all candidates for a forum, and oftentimes those that are sitting don't accept the invitation. So we're very excited to have these two gentlemen here. And so what we've done is we've gone through, obviously we just concentrate a few of the votes that I think that the members here at the McAllen Tea Party would consider to be important topics. And then what I want to do is ask you all about how you voted on that topic and then why. Because sometimes we may see, for example, we may say, hey, we're not happy with the way you voted on that. We don't like that vote. But there might be maybe an amendment to the bill or some other reason that vote was there. So we would like you gentlemen to give us an explanation of why you voted this way or that way and so forth. That sound good? Fantastic. First one is for Senator Hinojosa. A couple of sessions ago, there was a bill for religious expression in schools. You remember the bill?
I know the concept. I don't know the bill.
All this for the sheriff audience, the highlights are: allow students to express their religious beliefs in classroom assignments, allow students to organize prayer groups and other religious clubs to the same extent that students are allowed to organize non-curricular activities, allow student speakers at school events such as graduation discuss their religious viewpoints.
I think that students are allowed freedom of religion. I support the freedom of religion, and I think students ought to be allowed to express their religious views in class, as long as it's a true situation where other students and every individual is allowed to express his or her choice of religion.
All right, thank you. Rep. Torres, I think recently you had put out an announcement that you were against tax increases. And in the last session, there was a bill with regards to internet tax sales. And can you tell us how you voted on that internet tax sale bill and the reasons why?
I don't remember that bill.
Okay.
Maybe you can tell me when I voted.
Sure. The highlight says establishes that retailers must collect sales tax if such companies have a physical presence in the state. And you had voted yay on that bill, yes?
Yes.
And there was kind of a little back and forth discussion with Amazon because they had a large distribution center.
That was the issue on the Amazon. We called it the Amazon bill on the House side. Yeah, the Amazon bill. And if history serves me correctly, the company Amazon has come with an agreement with the state comptroller on exactly how to be taxed, and they've, I believe, made concessions and have agreed to start collecting that tax in Texas, because they're going to have a physical presence now, I believe. The reason back then was the budget shortage, and they were looking at this as a revenue stream that Amazon, which had some distribution centers, they didn't define those as a physical presence, I believe was the definition. And based on Representative Otto, who was in charge of that bill, if I remember correctly, that was his bill, he was defining it and telling us that it was, and they were subject to that tax. And so based on that evidence, being that we had already existing law, and that Amazon was just fighting the existing law definition, I voted in support of Representative Otto and his bill, if I remember correctly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I make a comment on taxes?
Sure.
Yeah, you know, I think the 10 years that I've been in the Texas Senate, I've never voted for a tax increase. We have a margin tax that I voted against the margin tax because it's really a tax on gross income, and that is anti-capitalist and anti-American. Having business pay a tax on the gross income. In addition, I introduced legislation, carried legislation in the Senate that reduced taxes for small businesses that make under $1 million gross income.
Thank you. Next question. House Bill 15, which requires an ultrasound prior to an abortion. Senator Hinojosa, do you recall your vote on that?
Yes, I do. I'm not for abortion, but at the same time, pretty much do not like government getting involved. And in that instance, the bill was very detailed in allowing doctors to penetrate, quite frankly, a woman's private parts. To me, government has no business in getting involved into your personal body. It is different in a sense that the doctors can tell you, advise you how bad it is or how wrong it is to have an abortion, but to allow a medical doctor to insert against your will a device and penetrate quite frankly, it's a female's vagina. To me, that is unacceptable, and it's women. It's really a violation of a woman's body.
Thank you. Rep. Torres?
It is a scientific proven fact that women who are given the opportunity to see a sonogram before they make that decision to have an abortion, I believe the statistic is over 75% choose to keep their babies. Now that's the women's voluntarily making that decision. No one's forcing them to say no to abortion. That was just the information that has been collected over studies that have been done. What is the cost of a human life? If a woman has a fair opportunity to make that decision, just to be extra sure she's making the right decision. Texas already saved hundreds of babies already, human lives, because of that bill. I voted in support of that. But I find it interesting, perhaps the senator is mistaken, maybe he forgot, but according to the Texas Alliance for Life and the Texas Right to Life, the senator's voting record is 100% for abortion. And if I may, I'd like to show a little diagram of that. That'd be okay?
Well,
No, that'd be all right.
No, we're gonna do it
I
today.
think we can do that. Of course, I think it'd be okay maybe afterwards if
Okay.
you wanted to meet with some people.
But the diagram shows the voting record that I took off their website on the senator. He has a 0% voting record for life. Now, if we're going to be honest, let's be honest. Senator, I think you might have forgotten your facts, but you have a history, long-standing history, not only receiving the Planned Parenthood Award for, I think they call it the Angel Award or Champion Award, for almost every year, I don't know how many years back, for being a strong advocate of their service of abortions, on the issue of abortion, but also the issue, the fact that your voting record is what it is. And I wish you would not support the abortion movement, because I put a lot of value in life. And one other correction on the issue of tax. With all due respect to the senator, just on October 3rd in the Caller Times, he is quoted as saying that he is for an income tax. Not the first time he said that.
Thank you. Next bill that I want to ask you all about is the TSA bill that they had put out last session, and restricts certain types of touching during searches by government officials. And it would basically prohibit public servants from committing certain actions while performing his or her assigned duties, job duties, including but not limited to performing a search without effective consent for the purpose of granting access to public buildings or form of public transportation, and intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly touches the private parts and goes into a list of private parts. Can you tell us how you voted on this bill and why? Torres, you can go first.
I supported Representative Simpson, who was the author of the bill. Washington is out of control. They try to bully themselves into our legislators, and we do have a 10th Amendment. And they believe that that 10th Amendment doesn't exist. And they're trying to bully themselves into our private lives. And this is one of the other ways where innocent children, innocent women, innocent elderly are being, should I say, violated in a way that should not happen in America. This bill was nothing more than to get their attention, that in Texas we're not going to take it anymore. And yet the bill died. It didn't die because there was not the will of some people, most people. It died because the Senate made some changes, and the Senate made the changes back to the House, and the House was going to hear it in committee, and then the senator, along with the rest of the senators, left on the day before session ended. They just basically shut the doors and left the House hanging. We could not complete that TSA bill because the senator and his fellow senators decided to go home early because I guess they had other reasons or other things to do. That's not right. The legislature requires both houses to be there to pass legislation. And until both houses are ready to go, I thought the Senate showed disrespect to the House for leaving early, and that is not doing the people's job in my business.
Well, you know, I think I'll have my run-ins with TSA at airports, as most of you know. But I must remind my good friend here, Raul Torres, that he's factually incorrect in that I don't know that he will know what happened during a special session with TSA because he was not there. He skipped the special session and told the press that he skipped because his daughter was ill. And it was a lie. He was at junket in Washington, D.C. On top of that, in 10 years in the Texas Senate, I missed maybe about 3 or 4 votes. He, as a freshman, missed 110 votes. If I was in the private sector, I would have been fired by the third day.
Senator, may I ask you to...
I am. Well, and it goes to the point that he would know what happened in the Senate or the House because he wasn't there. And I made my point in that, unfortunately, we all remember 9/11, what happened to our country. And yes, I think the TSA agents sometimes go too far. They have a very difficult job to do. But I really have tried to push them right in by complaining to TSA and the federal government to come up with more restrictions where they have to search people and use more common sense. The bill itself, I voted against it in the Senate. So did the majority of senators.
Because you voted against it because...
I'm sorry?
You voted against it because...
Well, I voted against it because it forced the state to be able to file criminal charges against TSA inspectors who are federal employees. Maybe they need better training, maybe better guidelines, more consistent procedures, but certainly not file criminal charges against an employee.
Okay, thank you.
I do have my comment.
Well,
Well, you gave him one. I would like to request an opportunity to respond to the senator, if I may. He did respond to mine, with all due respect.
I responded to you.
So the senator is saying that I was not in session, in the special session, which is not correct. It is a recorded effort. I was there. What I was not there on a Friday. And on that Friday, I had 2 months earlier made arrangements. I've been honored by an organization in Washington, D.C. was the only one of 2 representatives in Texas invited to attend this conference, this session. And I got permission from the Speaker of the House I got permission from the calendar chairman. I asked them and they said, no problem, we're only going to be in session 10 minutes, you can leave. Now, he's saying my daughter's not sick. That too is a lie. My daughter was sick. And that morning I was driving home because she had been in the hospital all week. But then she called, or I called her, and she said, Daddy, she said, they're letting me go at noon, which was a complete surprise because on Wednesday she wasn't coming out. And I said, well, okay. Well, that's good news, darling. I'm glad that you're coming out. And I had this invitation. I had the tickets with me. And I said, do you mind if I go? She said, no, I don't mind if you go. So I turned around and went and caught the flight to go to Washington. But I got permission. My daughter was well. I got my priorities lined. And even Chairman Jim Pitts wrote an article in the Caller Times that said I used my time wisely because I represented the state of Texas doing the people's business in Washington.